4 dragons preside over the 4 seasons: spring, summer, fall, winter. This we know is true.
The 4 created 20 dragons of earth and sky, and each of the 4 became part of the world. This we know is true.
The dragon of spring became the wind of magic. The dragon of summer became the sun called Yor. The dragon of fall became the colors of emotion. And the dragon of winter became the moon called Badra. This we know is true.
Dragons were gifted with dominion over land and sky. This we know is true.
And in turn shape the land, water, sky, and weather. This we know is true.
Even now, the world is protected by the 4 and the 20. This we know is true. Welcome to the finale of Breath of Magic, everyone. I'm going to turn it over to Alice right away for all of the things she has to say.
Okie, thank you. I can't believe it's the finale already. I'll make this quick, but please check out the links coming up in chat now. That includes the Discord. There is a channel for this game. We'd love to hear what you think about it. Also, the new season is creeping up on us in like 2 weeks. So we've got loads and loads of new viewer games, loads of D&D 5e. I'm doing a viewer game for the first time since season 1 on the Academy, so I will be back doing that again. Also, if you've missed anything, you can head over to YouTube and check out all of our games in their own playlists over there. Also, a huge thank you to our wonderful sponsors in the form of Hero Forge. Hero Forge, they've crushed all their goals. They're still going, and also in between shows over the next few days, Scrat will be doing the Hero Forge 2.0 Color Mini Creator live on stream with different people as we make themselves in these colored minis. And I've seen some of the behind the scenes stuff and it's so good. So please go and tune in to that. I don't know if the camera will focus on it. I'm excited because the fox is nearly unlocked, which means Harper gets one. So I'm super excited for that. Also, please check out Mage Hand Press, our other sponsor, the creators of Dark Matter. If you love D&D and you love space, this is the game for you. It's one of my favorite games of all time. So please go and check that out as well. And also, last but certainly not least, the Deck of Many Things, and the magic moving spell cards, which can be donated in this game. And they also created one of our viewer games that is coming to the show next season, Humblewood. All the adorableness. You can be so many different woodland critters, right down to deer, foxes, owls, birds, you name it. It's all in there, and it's really, really good. So please go check that out. Otherwise, I'm gonna hand back over to Mal. Oh, hi.
Can I be an otter in Humblewood?
There are no otters. I've already checked.
I'm sure it's not that hard. You can make an otter.
I'm just gonna walk. I need an otter in my life.
A raccoon and change it. Or be a
There are raccoons.
Water raccoon. They're the same thing,
yeah,
right?
Just be a water raccoon.
Science. Animals.
Science, bitches. Yeah, I am water raccoon.
Or be like a really big mouse. That's almost an otter.
I'm
really big mouse.
I'm not stalling, you're stalling. Shut up.
Really big mouse.
All right, so I guess we should do our player and character introductions like we do. And we'll start with the always amazing Bree.
Ooh, I've upgraded from lovely to amazing, everyone. Good morning. I've been awake for less than 20 minutes, so I wonder what's going to happen today. I'm sure that this won't have any negative effects on Scout's terrible decision-making. I am playing Scout, the young teenager who has somehow winded up, and by somehow I meant she forced her way on, kicking and screaming to an adventuring party of some grand and unique adult adventurers who she is now desperately trying to keep them alive. So they don't get their skin ripped off by dragons.
Amazing. And then we go to the always amazing Todd.
Hey everybody, how are you? Very sad and bittersweet that this is coming to an end. I love
Don't
playing.
act like you're sad. You've got hundreds of pounds of Starbucks coffee in your bag. I know. I've seen it.
I love playing this game with all these people. Everybody on the universe is welcome over for steaks or coffee at any point in time. You'll have to message for specifics. And you can currently find me nowhere at my house on the mountain doing nothing, which is lovely for the next 2 months.
And who are you playing?
Oh. I'm playing a pretzel-eating fool who forgot to say who he was playing. I play Galaran, this coming to terms, once noble, then kind of drifted off just to be mercenary work and trying to find his place again for the greater good. That's what I'm playing, Galaran. Galaran, not Galaran, not
I'm gonna
Galahan.
say I've said it wrong every single episode, and I don't think I've said it the same way of wrong every episode. Scout and I have definitely shouted the wrong name together.
Yeah, but Scout's allowed, whereas I'm not. Harper knows this person and still gets it wrong, so...
This is my good friend Galahan, Galabog.
This is my big strong man friend who has a sword.
I was gonna say, I'm like, hello, friend.
Sword man. This is Harper's boyfriend.
I'm playing Harper's boyfriend, Galaran. Apparently, Harper and I are not aware of this, but the rest of the universe is, so...
Scout is very aware.
Going back to my
Juniper
pretzels.
sees it too, and she's a grown-up.
And that, of course, brings us to the always amazing Anik.
Hello, my name is Anik. You can find me on Twitter at Anikster. And I play Juniper, who started traveling with a whole band of animals, which have been left behind by Scout currently, but we'll have a conversation about that at some point. And she started out adventuring because she thought she had to, but she's getting a little more convinced that this could work. You know, maybe they can save the world. Maybe everything will be fine. Or maybe not. We'll find out.
I really hope everything will be fine.
That's optimism for you.
She still has a magic coin in her pocket that's very much the subject of many considerations.
And that, of course, brings us back to the always amazing Alice.
Oh, hi, I'm Alice, also White Rabbit Pick on Twitter. I'm the other half of the Scratticus Academy. I'm a DM and a UFC player for the channel. I also do photography stuff. Mal's face is here, so I remember I have a Patreon. I've had very little sleep because it snowed in the Peak District yesterday, and I shoved Scrat in the car so we could go and do some photography for it. So I am playing Harper, who is this magic user, this witch, and she is very nervous, very awkward, but gaining quite a bit of confidence with this group of people, and very much feeling a bit more herself. This sounds awful now that she's got confirmation fully about her father, but they are in the middle of a war zone. So I think she's kind of running on adrenaline right now. Like, I think she'll be fine all the way through and then have a complete and utter crisis at the end of it, is how I'm seeing. But that's Harper. Yeah, like, I mean, again, it's very real life for me. I can get through a bad situation and then have the crisis at the end of it.
I think that's a lot of people. I guess that just leaves me. I'm the always amazing Mal.
There you go, Mal.
That
yes!
seems weird to say about myself.
True. Fuck off, it's beautiful. You're amazing and wonderful.
That's character growth, guys.
God, this is wholesome. This is wholesome for early in the morning. It's not morning, but for me it is.
It's still morning for me. I'm in Pacific time.
I'm now on Pacific time.
Yeah, I run Breath of Magic here. This is our finale. I'm also in the amazing Doors of Daenerys game, which we just had our finale on Monday. If you missed it, you should check it out, because holy shit, so many things happened. So many things.
As I said, I'm still having a crisis over it now. It's over.
And I have another finale on Friday. I guess that brings us to our recap then. So, at the start of last episode, we met back up with Juniper, Harper, and Galaran as they start to take on the now awake blob minion in the alleyway. They survey the surroundings. Juniper grabs a piece of wood and hides behind Galaran. Harper kicks the barrel at it, and Galaran charges in, landing a decisive blow on the creature. The battle is quick. After the battle, Juniper spots a way further into the town and below the town and alerts Harper, who rushes over, while Galaran talks to more guards. We then panned over to Scout. The Scout had decided she'd had enough of being left behind and goes to look for a house to stash the animals that she's been left in charge of. She finds the house and has been abandoned for a while and leaves Ryu in charge of Ella. Heading into town, she notices that everything is quiet. The Leviathans are gone, the cannons are not firing, the elevator is empty. Scout has to climb her way down into the city, much like her companions did earlier. The night is incredibly dark, with no moon or stars visible, and wondering why the moon is not visible, Scout casts a spell unbeknownst to her, and a harvest moon appears. Continuing to climb down, she comes across the elevator basket, and in the elevator are the remains of the 3 people the other half of the group found earlier. Disturbed by the sight, she moves on, entering the empty city. From a distance, she hears a voice whisper her name, and as she walks through the ruined town, she heads towards it. She sees white and gold masquerade masks littered around the street as she goes. Eventually reaching a clock tower in the center of town, she sees a figure standing there. Approaching closer, Scout sees that it's Harper, and yet it's not Harper. Her hair is longer, she looks older. Scout doesn't believe that it's actually Harper and demands to know who they are. The not Harper claims to be who they should be, and is relieved that Scout is okay. Scout questions them by asking who her boyfriend is, but the fake Harper answers that she doesn't have a boyfriend. Unconvinced, Scout gets angry and demands more answers. Suddenly noticing that fake Harper has red eyes, Scout realizes that she's dealing with the same entity she saw in her vision when she put the mask on. The Dark One who killed so many of Sunny's brothers and sisters. This person claims that it is because of them that he is now wearing Harper's body. Scout criticizes his choice. Galaran has way more muscles, and Juniper is a witch.
I'm not a witch, I'm your wife! And I'm not even sure I want to be that anymore! I watched Princess Berry's movie, sorry.
Have fun storming the castle!
Is it going to work?
The Dark One and Harper agree that Galaran was strong and Juniper was a witch. But Harper was the stronger of them all, and the Dark One needed Harper specifically. Confused, Scout asks why they keep speaking in the past tense. As the creature shows a massive, creepy grin, time freezes. Scout throws a rock, which hits... Scout attempts to throw a rock at him, and it also freezes in midair after leaving her hand. As Scout wonders what's going on, she hears soft footsteps, and half turning towards them, she sees an Asian woman who tells her that Scout shouldn't be there. Angry and upset, Scout rants at her that no one tells her what she can and can't do, and her friends are gone. The lady named Ivo attempts to calm her down so she can send Scout back to her friends. She explains that for Scout, this is the present, but for her friends, this is the future. Scout needs to go back and help her friends so they can prevent all of this from happening. The 4 of them need to try and stop the Dark One together. As Scout closes her eyes and focuses on her friends, she can feel Ivo weaving magic. Opening her eyes, she sees herself acting out the day in reverse, suddenly finding herself back at the shack with the animals. But this time, the cannons are still firing. The Leviathans are still attacking. Meanwhile, the rest of the group has entered the tunnels underneath Bronze Crossing and have been caught by the group of minions. And I'm going to retcon this because it doesn't make any sense, even with time being wobbly. You were locked in the room for a while. It wasn't probably a day or two. That makes no sense. So we're going to retcon
wobbly.
that. Yeah.
Whammy.
All of their weapons had been taken away, but they were allowed to keep Kit and Rebecca and Harper's giant tome. Starting to break out, they survey their surroundings. Harper sees no enemies, and leaning on their experiences having run through dungeons and encountering dragons, the group assumes their weapons will be nearby and go looking for a storage room. Galaran attempts to kick the door down and is mostly successful. Harper manages to reach through the hole that he's made in the door and open it, allowing the party to raid the storage room. As the rest of the group grabs their weapons, Juniper finds a vial of liquid. Opening it, she smells the smell of grass and summer. Being a summer witch, she figures it'll be a good idea to drink the liquid, and as the group watches, her skin becomes more bark-like. That's still in effect, by the way. I'm not going to take that away. Heading back the way they came to see if they can figure out what happened to Scout in the time they've been gone, Harper hears a voice she hasn't heard in a long time. She stops, turns, and runs towards it. Galaran hot on her heels, and Juniper a respectful, safe distance behind the two of them. Eventually, they find themselves in front of the large double doors Scout saw in her vision. Harper tells Juniper and Galaran that she needs to go into the room and they're not to follow her. Juniper wants to know why, and Harper tells her that she thinks that's her father in the room. Juniper is confused, since Harper told her that her father was dead. Galaran suggests that Juniper and him join Harper in the room wearing the masks they got earlier as disguises, while Harper leans in to look through the keyhole and does see her father there. Now, with Scout presumably back in the same time period, she's booking it towards the city. She slides down the tracks, runs through the town, getting directions from the guards, where a big strong man and two powerful but nervous women with a fox and a raccoon went. Harper, meanwhile, is looking at her father, Xander, who is in conversation with a shadow, and hesitates, torn between leaving and going to find Scout, and kicking open the door to ask her father what the hell is going on. As she steels herself, Galaran counts down to something. Reaching for the door, she stops as the group hears Scout's voice back down the tunnel. Galaran turns and runs down toward Scout. Back in the tunnel, Scout full body crashes into Galaran, babbling at him about having to save Harper from the body snatcher as he tries to shush her and hug her. While this is going on, Harper turns to Juniper saying, "If I'm not back in a few minutes," and moves to go inside. Juniper, refusing to let Harper go alone, ignores her and walks in with her, and the two hold hands as they enter. Walking into the room, they feel the presence. There's Harper's father sitting on a wooden chair, and behind him is a shadow. As he stands, his body doesn't move quite right. Xander sees Harper and he smiles at her and says, "I knew you'd come." As Harper and her father stare at each other for a moment, Juniper looks around and sees dozens of masks on the wall around the room. She casts light to get a better look, but it barely illuminates. It seems like the shadow is absorbing the light. Harper questions her father, who says they need her help. Harper says no, simply, and gets angry at him for leaving her for 20 years. Confused, her father claims that it's only been a year, maybe two, despite the fact that Harper is clearly much older. Out of the shadows, a face appears. The face is a lot like Sunny's, but with red eyes and a creepier grin. Juniper and Harper rush out of the room, the door closing behind them as they are greeted by scouts yelling about 3 skeletons in a basket in the sky. Harper gives Juniper a look, but is interrupted by Scout demanding that Harper tells her who her boyfriend is. And not getting the answer she wants, she pinches Harper's cheek to see if the monster has stolen her face. Still rattled, Scout rushes to tell the group about going to the future and the monster with the red eyes that stole Harper's body. Harper casually mentions that thing with the big smile and the red eyes is on the other side of the door in the room with her father. Having heard from Harper, Galaran dusts off his clothes, brushes his hair back, buttons his coat, and attempts to stand up straighter, looking much neater and younger. And he turns to the group and says, "Let's go make introductions." Scout is holding on to Harper, telling her not to go in and she'll get her body stolen. But Juniper grabs her other hand and tells them they're not splitting up again. Juniper also wants to discuss with Scout what happened to her donkey. Once inside, Galaran makes his introductions and starts to go around the room, picking the masks up off the wall and crushing them in his hands. Xander refers to him as the Knight, and in return he asks Xander just what the plan is to overthrow the city, the world. What is the plan? Xander looks confused. His body looks a little broken. Scout carefully tells Harper he looks like a man that hasn't been alive for a while, and Harper agrees. Galaran continues to ask questions, moving around the room and crushing the masks, as the grin and the red eyes appear in the shadow again. Also realizing Xander is already dead, Galaran directs his questions to the dragon as to why they need Harper. They learn that when the familiars fought the Dark One all those years ago, though they didn't manage to kill him, they imprisoned him, and he needs a new physical form. But Xander's body is not enough. Harper asks him if this means he wants his daughter to take her place, while Galaran crushes more masks, moving ever closer. Juniper asks if he needs a new physical form to take over the world, something she would have an issue with because she lives in the world. Harper knows this isn't really her father, since he would never help with something like this. He would have told Harper to run. And behind Xander, the grin of the Dark One gets wider and wider. And we ended as Xander's body crumbled to the floor and decayed. All right. So, everyone's standing in the room. You've just witnessed all of this happening. Juniper, as you stand there having watched all this happen, you think back to a time that was happier. You're at your farm with your husband and your kids. You've tended the animals for the day. It's time for dinner. What does this scene look like to you?
Chaos.
There you go. Your mic didn't pick up for a second.
Better now?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just chaos. There's kids running around, sort of setting the table, but kind of making it worse. Nothing matches. There's a chicken sitting on the countertop somewhere. There's dogs and children underfoot. And somewhere inside all of this mess is her husband, who is just this ocean of calm where everything just sort of flows around him as Juniper is burning her hands on the oven and knocks over a drink, and he just sort of falls behind her and calmly picks up the glass and wipes things down, finds one of the kids, puts it where it's supposed to be. You know, he's just very chill while the household rages around him until they finally settle down to what is a very basic but very tasty meal. There's so much talking. There's like 5 children trying to tell everyone about their day. There's dogs barking. It's not calm.
What one conversation sticks out from this memory, Juniper?
I don't think it's really a conversation as much as it is this moment where she can look across the table and catch her husband's eyes and just look at each other, and all the babbling just sort of like she just stopped hearing it for a second, and there's just this sense of this is right. Like when you've been with someone for so long, or that level, they don't have to talk. It's actually really nice that they can do this without talking.
And once the meal's over, what happens with the rest of the evening?
Well, older children are set to do dishes. Younger children are hoisting grain to various animals. Juniper probably has to catch some of the younger ones and at least scrub them down a little before they go to bed. And once everything that's like under 18 is in bed and everything that's over 18 is gone out to town to do whatever it is they do, I don't want to know. It's just Juniper and her husband on the sofa sort of going, made it through another day. Everyone made it to the evening. We're good.
I like it. Galaran, you've just seen all this happen. And you find yourself thinking of a time with your brothers training. What does this scene look like to you?
I imagine that there's some joy in it, with their family of nobility, the three of them, knowing that everything they did, they thought they did for the greater good and self-righteousness and to right the wrongs. And I think that he sees this vision and where it's meant to try to bring him down and somber. He recalls his adventure with his three new friends here. And he knows that there's still people that care about him, and he can shake off that vision of his brothers and now know that he has to do his part to carry on. He can't be haunted by those. While it's a somber, it's a bittersweet memory to know what they once were and that they're not here. He knows he's not going to allow it to drive him any longer, direct him from what he was born or what he feels he's supposed to do. And I imagine that he just starts try to play head games with the this is a demon. What is this thing? What is a dragon? No, what is this?
It's essentially a dragon.
Yeah. So he kind of just starts
black dragon of the apocalypse.
He starts laughing mockingly at the dragon, I think. He just starts laughing. Like trying to maybe start a head game war here.
Scout doesn't understand what the fuck is happening with these grown-ups. This dragon is out to steal faces, namely Harper's. Why is Harper here? Galaran, why are you laughing? I don't understand. Juniper, we should go. We agree on these things. Why are we here? So she's kind of just looking around at everyone, the pile of Harper's once father and this shadow of this black dragon. And she just kind of stomps her foot and goes, what are we gonna
do? We're gonna defeat this pathetic being. Look at his tactics. And then he turns and he looks at Harper and he says, we're not haunted or forced to make decisions based off of emotions of losing loved ones. And then he turns back to the dragon. He's like, you're right, though. You're right. Harper is the strongest of us all, because the death of my loved ones diverted me from my path. But right now, what you just did, you think that's going to hinder her in any way from her purpose? You already failed.
I will say Harper is just going through her book. She's sort of there's gotta be something. This is history. To her, it's history book. Knowledge is power. You were locked away once. It's gotta be said how in here. So she is literally reading the book in front of this dragon.
Well,
not
Scout
really
is
looking
going,
at the
do
situation.
you not understand the severity of this? Scout is just looking at everyone ah!
Just Harper looking for an index. See if it's under I.
It's I'm in the index. It's dark in here. She's holding it towards the light, trying to. She's just trying to find anything.
My dagger still glowing at least a little. I'll help with the dagger.
Yeah, just hold it over here. Even this with this dragon sort of going off on one over there. I'm just. She's not ignoring it in the way that she's disconnected from the situation. She's just sort of agreeing with whatever's being said and just turning the pages until she's almost she wants people to keep it distracted so that she can find.
I'm just just assuming
something.
Galaran will deal with this the way he deals with everything, which is to swing a really big sword at it and kill it.
And then turn and walk away.
And then turn and walk away. And deny.
And
he
not
has a
look back.
girlfriend.
And not look back.
Never look back.
No,
Never look
Guys
back.
don't look at
cool guys
explosions.
don't look at explosions.
Just walk away.
Was that your plan? Was this your plan? What your intention was to play at her heartstrings? Well, there you go. You have it. We're standing here. Your masks are all destroyed.
All
So,
of them.
what's your next move?
He spent a lot of time crushing those masks.
I was crushing a lot of masks.
Literally, as we're all like, right, we need to somehow destroy us. He's just like, I hate these fucking masks.
Fuck those masks, honestly.
Are you at a loss for words? Your plan already failed, and you're realizing it will not come to fruition.
I have all the time in the world. It would be easier if Harper would join me.
Well, that's probably a safe assumption that's not going to happen.
Then I'll
Again,
have,
as she turns the page. No.
then I'll
Look-
have
look
no
what she
choice
cost
but to
years ago.
take her.
Gav's gonna stand in front of Harper. They're like the same height.
So at that point, Mal, this is just a shadowy form, right? There's no like embodiment of what this thing is or anything, right? This is like a shadow in the room. So swinging a sword at him would look absolutely ridiculous. So I'm going to try to look for any kind of, I guess it'd be called like a tether or a feather, something that is connected to in this room that looks like it shouldn't be here. Like perhaps if I destroyed that demonic looking idol, I don't know, anything out of the ordinary. And if it doesn't, I'm going to swing at it. I don't even know if it's going to do anything. The first ornate object or anything I see, I'm just going to swing at it.
Just has like a hate for masks and anything that looks slightly on it.
He said he was going to take Harper.
I want to
Destroy
say
the furniture.
out of character. I emphasize with Galaran so much because in Doors of Numenera, I'm just like, oh my god, what is Reese gonna do? All he does is have a knife. He doesn't. What's he gonna do? I'm gonna stab it, I guess.
And I know that.
My name is Todd in real life, and people always say Toddy smash when things happen. Like I couldn't get the top off the pretzels earlier, so I just punched the hole in it.
That's our guy.
That's intense. Now, go punch the dragon.
It's a
You walk
shadow.
away afterwards.
Okay,
Without looking back.
there's a lot of things happening. Harper, you're flipping through this book as fast as you can, hoping that there's information in here that'll help you. Can you give me a sense roll, please?
I can. Come on, Alice. I'm reading that book.
I should have read this prior to doing
I'm
this.
reading the hell out of this book.
You read the hell out of this book.
Yeah, I do.
Um,
I can't do anything else, but I can read a book.
near the back of the book, there's discussion by whoever wrote the book about the palace that the Dark One had, a ziggurat that at one point is said to have flown in the sky, and no one has seen it since the battle hundreds, thousands of years ago. but you feel... Were you going to say something?
She was literally, she's almost, people can hear her muttering out loud, like in the past in the sky and going through it. She's literally half reading it out loud, but probably only enough for us holding the dagger over to baby Juniper. It's like a muttering of what Harper's saying as she reads it, but she's not saying it loud enough so that everyone can hear it.
And then you realize, you think most likely, based on what's been said, if the Dark One's imprisoned and has no physical form, it must be imprisoned in that place.
So would that indicate it's technically not escaped this prison yet, or? Like, is it like loosening? Is there a way to maintain it or put it, like, you know, get back to your room, kind of thing?
I think because you rolled so well, I think Harper starts to put together that whatever is keeping the Dark One imprisoned is weakening, and this shadow is almost more like an avatar than the actual Dark One. Yeah, I think.
She sort of stands up and she feels like Goloran's got this handle to the other side and turns back to the others and is like, look, and sort of shows like maybe like this diagram on this huge book of this huge sort of like temple-like island that floats in the sky. It's like, this, I think we need to get here. There's something up there that is weakening. We need to, and then she looks to Scout. She's like, we're gonna need your friend. I think you're gonna have to fly a dragon again.
Don't have to tell me twice.
And like even like Harper's got a weird grin on her face, like she's so done with this show. It's like, and if I can, because I know that this dragon is somewhere and was talking to Harper, she sort of looks up and she remembers. I remember correctly that I didn't have to move my lips to talk to it, didn't I? It was almost reaching out. Yeah. He sort of pauses for a moment, looks very firmly at the book, and then tries to reach out to see if it's there.
What do you say?
It's just like, we could really use your help right about now. This is the time you need to be bothering us.
Okay. Galaran wants to smash something, so let's let him do that. Galaran, you see behind the simple wooden chair that Xander was sitting on I guess it's a pedestal is the best word I can think to describe it. It looks much fancier than anything else in the room.
So is this was this like a throne room? Your masks are all destroyed. And he's gonna walk over and he's gonna kick the chair over. This stupid chair. What is this? What is this? He's gonna pick it up. He's gonna smash it with his fist. He's like, you failed. You failed. What? What else? You're a big shadow. We're not intimidated. We have a dragon friend too. Stupid shadow. Totally talking trash the whole time, trying to keep its attention.
It's like one of those amazing wrestling matches where he's just posturing.
I think the Dark One, the eyes focus on Galaran, and the grin just keeps growing. And even though I'm laughing and don't know what to do, I think the Dark One just chuckles and, look at you. You don't know what to do. You're lashing out because you have no idea how to fix this situation. You have no idea what should be done.
Well, in my experience, sometimes just smashing things gets the better of people. I mean, you're now at least talking. You can mask that you're not frustrated, but your plan to try to manipulate Hoppa has failed. Did you not realize who she travels with? You called me Knight when I walked in. Do you not know who these people are? Supposed to be all-knowing. Juniper, savior of the world. Scout, who bards will write praise and songs about for aeons to come. Think about it. This young lady will live on forever in story, where you, one day, even you, will be just a distant memory.
I think Harper sort of Harper walks over to Galaran and sort of puts a hand on his shoulder and is like, "It's okay, we got it." Like, as she sort of looks over at the shadows, like, "Sorry, excuse me, we're gonna."
While they're doing the adult thing, Scout's kind of sitting in this aeons, and she like deep voices just, "I'll eat you for breakfast."
Hop's like, "We're gonna go now. We need to get outside. We're
Everybody,
just gonna."
I'm right behind you. I'm right behind you.
Is it?
All right.
No, you said we don't leave anyone in this room.
I'm backing up, looking at the dragon, and as I do, I'm going to peer down at the body of Harper's father and see if there was anything left, a locket, a ring, anything at all that I can grab for Harper.
Harper's backing up. She's sort of like, if Scout is like yelling at this, she's just like, yeah, but like turning Scout round at the same time to leave the room so that they can get out.
Harper, would there have been anything on your father potentially? Because you have his coat, you had his bag,
Yeah,
I believe.
think I've got most of his stuff.
Bring a rib. Give you a wishbone.
Yeah, I'd like a skull, please. No, let's
I got your dad's hand.
Let's Hamlet the hell out of this. No, we're gonna. I think maybe there might have been like a leather sort of, not bracelet. That's the wrong sort of thing. Like a, I guess,
Gauntlet.
Yeah, something like that. There might have been something like that he used, because he wasn't a fighter in sense, but he did have some sort of protective things more for when he was working. But otherwise, I think she's got like his bag and his coat, which were the main things he wore, because he wasn't into very sort of expensive things, because most of the stuff he sold.
Okay. So yeah, you, Galaran, you find this leather strap that's a couple of thin strands interwoven, is how I'm seeing it. Probably something that either he made himself or maybe that Harper made for him.
I'll say maybe Harper made it for him. It's really ugly, but like, it's what she did when she was like 8, so it's like a mass of knots rather than anything else.
And
He will he'll kneel down slowly, Galaran will kneel down slowly and take it and look up at the dragon, stop laughing, stop with the mocking, stop everything, and just look at him in dead seriousness. Like, you're not going to get out. You're not taking Hoppa. And he's going to back out and follow the rest of the party out of the room. Unless the dragon lightning bolts me or something.
Well, so there's another thing you found with the bracelet. It's a small vial that looks like it's full of soy sauce.
Soy sauce.
Lick it. Go on, lick it.
This whole group is just licking.
Either lick it, drink it, or eat it. You know you have to.
Oh, can you imagine drinking soy sauce straight
I
off?
have. It's not bad, actually. No, I'm serious. It's not that bad.
That's instant plus 60 cholesterol.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's terrible for your blood pressure because it's like all salt, but it's really not bad.
Soy sauce has more sodium, like per like tablespoon, than like most people need like a whole day.
I mean, it's still better than Bree's coffee.
Hey.
Sorry.
Harper is like, I guess Harper might be leading the way. She doesn't like exactly know where she's going. She just knows she's going out, because she's got this book that she's half reading as she goes. But she's got she's showing Scout things from the book as well. Like, this is why we need to pull the dragon. She's trying to explain to Scout why we're going to need this other dragon.
Does the story say of its followers would visit it there? Is there some sort of portal that we could find? This is obviously their base and their encampment while they were trying to take over the city. Do you think there's a room that'll with us there?
Do I think that, Mal, or is it literally like we're gonna need a dragon to actually physically fly to this place?
I think you're pretty set on you're gonna need the dragon either to fly there or do something.
Okay. Harper's just like, well, that dragon you really don't like, I'm afraid we're gonna have to befriend fully. And she's sort of like, she puts her hand on Scout's shoulders, like, but we've already got a friend of a dragon.
So excited to get to ride the dragon. Come on, guys, let's go.
Sunny! Wait, Sunny's too small to carry all of us, remember? Sunny will have to bring family. Does Sunny have any family?
Sunny might be able to control one of those whales. That could definitely lift us to wherever we have to go. Unless one of you have a spell to control giant whales shooting lightning bolts at the people.
I don't think my spell qualifies for the giant wolves. It barely qualified for the wolves.
I can put them to sleep, but then they literally will drop out the sky.
Juniper, you have more pets than I've ever seen in my life. Surely you must be able to control this whale.
Well,
part of your fault.
Can I control a whale? Can I?
I would like to control the flying whale.
Well, Mal, does the potion I have look anything like the potion I got last time? I know what this does.
No, it's different. It's a different thing.
I don't think I can animal tame a Leviathan, though, as amazing as that would be. I can try. Are there any around? Can I try? It's not an animal, I think.
Well,
okay. So
I'm just gonna tell the party. Why did I do this game? Why did I give them flying whales?
Flying whales.
Okay. So you're running down these corridors. You're all talking to each other, trying to like, Harper's, this is what we need to do. This is what I think we need. We need Sunny. We need this. Juniper's like, maybe I can control the whales.
Maybe.
And I go, I have this potion of soy sauce.
I found this potion.
I also don't know if Scout noticed the fact that Juniper looks like she's covered in bark currently.
Say that she's just kind of like picking.
I know, cool, right?
Scout's like, oh no, this is normal. After everything else, Scout's like, oh, this is fine.
Scout's like, what is this? What is that I do?
Scout's
what is it?
licking me.
I gotta know.
Okay, so all of this is happening. You're all headed. I'm guessing to try and get back topside, right?
To summon dragons.
Or ride Leviathans.
We're gonna summon a dragon. There's a cat in my
I'm excited. I'm excited for dragon summoning and whale riding and whatever else we decide is going to happen. But as you're going down these tunnels, headed back to the top of the city, Scout, you think about your parents. I would like your happiest memory with your parents and Mima.
So they left when Scout was pretty young to never return, probably around 7. And she's always been in Bluefield, and her family was always there. They always said it was a good place to make base. And even though it was only a few years ago, she can distinctly remember Mima and her parents going into the fields and setting up tents and camping out on the freshly harvested land where they laid up together and looked at the stars. And her father told her stories of all the adventurers that have walked under these stars, and grand tales of a world so much bigger than the little blue field. While Mima worked over the fire to make small camping food, even though they were only a 5 minutes walk from home. And I think that's probably her happiest memory.
I love it. Harper, you've just technically seen your father, who you haven't seen in 20 years. You were on the road a lot with him as a kid, but I'm sure there was at least one time where you had the kind of money where he took you to a tavern for food and to stay inside. It was kind of a treat. What would that scene look like to Harper?
She would remember how excited she would get when she would arrive in a particular town. She can't really remember the name of it, but she remembers the tavern. And she remembers him holding her hand and then walking into this tavern, and that feeling that heat from the hearth and that smell of the wood burning fire in this tavern, and that food cooking, the sort of bustle around her. She was so used to living and walking around in silence other than her father's voice. So she found it really intriguing when he'd sit her at the table and she could look around all of these different faces, all of these different types of people, and just see the variety of people around her sort of laughing and drinking. They'd order the food and she would remember how good a proper home-cooked meal would be. And it would be something, they'd always, if they stopped in a tavern, which was very rare, they'd always have pie. Because they couldn't make pie on the road. But this was something she loved, and she would try and savor it as she went through. She'd try and like sneak a sip of her dad's beer and then completely regret it every time. And absolutely hate it, and just sort of wince and put it down, and he would laugh, and she remembers his laugh. And he would be very talkative to all the people around. He was well known, well loved, and very, very friendly. But she was more of a watcher and would like to just watch everything he did and learn from that. And she'd sort of sit there, she'd move the food around the plate, not because she's trying to avoid any of it, but because she's trying to make it last as long as possible. And they always went back to the same tavern because there was this very, very lovely, very short, round, red-faced woman that would cook this pie and was always so, so nice to Harper, and would give her like an extra sort of slice every single time they went in. And it would always be the usual comment, how much you've grown. You look so much more, grown up since the last time I saw you. But she loved that this person asked her that. And it's not so much remembering all the good things in it, it was the feeling she remembered. And she never slept well in a tavern because it felt too comfortable. It was almost like she kept tossing and turning, and half the time she'd drag the cover off the bed and lay on the floor and wrap herself up in the duvet, but on the floor. But the main thing that'd get her through the night, even if she was tossing and turning, would be the breakfast in the morning.
I love it. All right. So it takes a while. You're deep in the bowels of the city. Harper remembers the way out. Even looking at her book, even explaining to everyone, she navigates these twists and turns, and you find yourself riding that elevator back up. And you arrive back in that street.
Are there still people running around a day later looking for cover?
If there is, I'd like to keep Gulliran away from the guards.
Yeah, because I'm gonna murder some guards. I'm gonna go straight up chaotic neutral. If that's the case. Where is the organization in this place? What the Phantom Menace is going on here?
Is Gallagher gonna talk to the guards all evening again? Can we just get going?
Harper looks down at Scout and goes, if you see Gulliran talking to the guards, I need you to stop him and move him on as soon as possible. She feels like Scout has some form of authority in a way over Gulliran. Not authority, but like is more likely to get him moving.
Yeah.
She's trying to help the people. She wants to help the
If
people.
they can't help themselves, then they
can't find a shelter.
Okay.
So,
If
Mal, is
if
there
that
like
dragon takes a
Is there a Leviathan within range?
Are you gonna talk to it like Dory does? Finding you.
Can you please?
Can you speak whale?
Everybody speaks whale.
I just envision coming through the hallway and seeing people still running around and just throwing my sword and I'm like, that's it. I'm going home. I'm not helping anybody.
I'm done.
It's ridiculous. Please describe the scene of the streets so we see it. Please.
Put him out of his misery, Mal.
The streets are calm now. You don't see anyone else. You would imagine at this point they've managed to organize. People have been sent somewhere to be safe. There is still fighting going on overhead, though. It is much less now. Juniper, if you'd like to try and talk to a Leviathan, please go ahead. Do you have a spell for that, or am I making you roll to try and talk to them?
This is the kind of finale I'm here for.
I have a spell for that.
For speaking whale?
No, I was gonna like stretch the definitions of animal tamer a little further. I just want to find like their inner whale, you know, not the angry outside Leviathan rage beasts. I want to speak to the calmer creature within. I will speak will again on stream if that is required of me, but I think we might lose both Todd and Galaran if I do.
We do also have nat 20s and advantages.
I know, I have lots of them. I'm willing to spend things, but so far I'm just watching Mal's face going, what have I started? All these weeks ago.
Yeah, I think you cast the spell and you focus on one of the Leviathans closest to you.
The one that looks the chillest.
I don't know that you can really determine that. I think you're gonna have to settle with just that one looks the closest.
Which one's just hanging out at the back, not really like destroying the building?
Oh yeah, it's
not really
the Leviathan that's firing its lightning off into nothing because it doesn't want to hurt anyone.
Yes, I want
It's
the
just having
pacifist.
having a whale of a time.
No. That pun.
Scrat's not here, I have to do it.
Whale puns.
I'm okay.
Welcome to the academy. Please take your
You focus on the Leviathan closest to you as best you can. what's the spell actually do, and then what are you trying to do with it?
Okay, so it says for the duration of the spell, the caster may tame a number of wild creatures that are within sight at the end. They may be used as either riding or pack animals. Caster rolls spirit die, a number of animals equal to that result are tamed. But the spell has no effect on monsters, which is why I'm trying to find their inner realm.
Okay, well, you're only gonna get, if this works, you're only gonna get to tame one regardless.
Perfect. I don't want, currently, like later when I grow up, I might want a flying herd, but for now one will do.
So why don't you roll that spirit die to see if you can, essentially to see if your spell can get through whatever the Dark One is using to control it.
I think you can feel what's coming, but I'm going to use that natural 20. Because
okay.
I really, really, really want a whale. Really. Like, I already don't have a farm full of dragons, I'll settle for a whale.
I am here to empower your whale riding requests. You've generously gifted the use of the Nat 20 so that it can become a thing. And it's...
I am so excited to have suggested this.
Me too, I love you so much right now.
Listen, I'm all about letting my players do cool things and have fun. That's the best part about doing these things, right? It's tenuous at first. It's almost like this sea of black threads that you're trying to push a white thread through. And it's difficult. It's probably more difficult than any spell you've cast at this point. And at first, you're not sure if it succeeds. And then you hear, or feel, I guess more accurately, you feel this. It almost, if it was not calm, it would be overwhelming. This presence is so large now that you've connected with it. But you sense this calmness deep within it.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for that donation. Is it Chevrolet? Everyone gets a deck of many card. So hang on.
He or she did the same thing to the cleanup crew yesterday, and their finale went.
Yeah, nice.
That was amazing.
Okay. Okay. So, what I'll do is, we'll start first of all with Juniper, and when you tell me to stop, that's the card you'll get. So I'm going to start now.
Stop. Please don't take my will away. I just got it.
Get the visor. I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's like you can now speak to whales, but...
Hey, I just did. I need something better.
More whales. Okay,
well, I
Scout.
did that pack.
Tell me when.
When?
You get the balance card. Okay. Visor, balance, Gulliran. Tell me when to stop.
I want the bottom card.
You
I
want the bottom
card
card?
at the bottom of the deck.
Where is it? I dropped it. Hang on. I just dropped it. There we go. You get the sun.
Apollo praised.
Okay,
Praise
Mal,
the sun.
I'm going to get you to tell me when to stop for mine. So I've started. If I get death again, I swear to God.
Stop.
I get the Talons card.
Last time, didn't all your stuff get stolen?
My stuff, I think, yeah. But it was in another game. It was actually like, here, Avatar of Death, and Death was following me. And I was like, great. I was a child as well.
You got talents last time.
Yeah, you got talents the last time we got cards in this one. You want to pull another?
Let's pull another. Okay, tell me when, Mel.
When? Okay.
Fun fact, that picture last week that I was trying to buy, Sunset Tango, is actually spiritual images of the sun and the moon. Because they're never in the same place at the same time. And so that's what the picture is.
Oh my god,
So,
the sun and the moon.
Scott was right all along.
Yeah.
Outfitting.
Knew it.
Huh. Okay.
That's always an amazing sound when Mal makes that.
Well, the thing is taking these that they're written for D&D and figuring out how to apply them, especially because we're in the finale, and they were generously donated. So I need to like figure out how to make them fit.
I just completely break it.
Yeah.
Just completely break it.
My whale away. I just got a whale.
Yeah, whale's gone.
Whales, whales, whales. Whale of a tail. I'm stalling for the GM.
Actually, this might be a good time for Juniper to ask Scout what the hell she did with my donkey.
I put them in a
whale.
I'll be back in 15 minutes.
I can deal with a whale in the middle of a war zone. You, young lady, should have been more careful. Where is Ryu?
He's in a
I
house.
left you in charge.
He's in a house.
What house?
A house by the thing, the elevator. I couldn't carry him down an elevator.
And the
That's the fetus talk, young lady.
Whether you think you can or you can't, you're correct.
Did you try? Did you bring my fox at least?
No, they had to watch each other to keep each other safe.
In an abandoned house. Okay, how many days of food did you leave them? Do they have water? Are they tied up? Are they wearing their blankets?
They're not tied up.
Did you take a tack off?
Go back and they just gone.
I traveled through time, Juniper.
That's not an excuse, young lady.
You
Yes,
shouldn't
it
have been
is.
like, there's a fox?
I was gonna say. I'm gonna
The
be
way
myself.
you rambled the story to Galaran, you left my animals and then traveled through time. Therefore, the fact that you traveled through time is in no way a
Yeah, but then I went
mitigating
back.
circumstance for abandoning. How many days of food did you leave them?
Whatever's on their packs.
Oh, you left it in the packs. They don't have hands. They can't open a pack.
Foxes have teeth.
That raccoon can steal anything.
Yeah, but she got the raccoon.
Raccoon's here.
Oh, yeah.
Rebecca's like, I don't know.
As it fights out of the baby Bjorn.
Rebecca's just sort of staring at that whale going, I've been replaced. This is it.
This is the moment.
Rebecca has serious whale envy.
There's only one thing cooler than a raccoon pet, and it's a sky whale.
I know, right?
What about a dragon?
That's
Speaking
true. Sunny
Sky whale.
We all know dragons fly. Nobody knows whales can fly and shoot lightning bolts.
I actually feel like there'd be more of a shock if I rode in on a whale. Like
Aquaman.
Okay, so
sorry, Matt.
it's fine. There's so many things going on. And this is definitely a group of semi-chaotic people.
I'm pure chaos. Mal.
Semi.
I mean,
so like polite.
Well, because some of you are more chaotic, as I look over at Bree, and some of you are less chaotic. And so as a group, you're semi-chaotic, I feel.
We balance the
Very
chaos.
sensible farmer.
All
Wants
right.
to ride a sky whale.
So you've reached the top. You're back out on the streets. Juniper, you've befriended a whale. Scout, you're calling for Sunny. I'm assuming because Scout's probably yelling out loud, because that feels like Scout to me.
What should you do? Talk in her mind? She doesn't know how that works.
And as Scout shouts for Sunny, you feel the summer wind, and carried on it all the scent of summer. And in the sky above you, nearby, you see Sunny appear. And Sunny is enveloped in gold light. And each of you receives something from Sunny.
Is it a ride?
Well, that might be extra, but...
Right, price not included.
Scout, you are given a fruit that looks similar to the apples that you and Juniper found before, except there's a gold sheen to the skin of this one. And you know that if you eat it, whoever eats it will regain half of their current, half of whatever their current HP is when eaten.
I don't have to like it to find out.
No, you know.
Okay.
You're gonna lick it anyway.
I'm gonna lick it anyway.
Harper, you receive a coin. Juniper, I forget, did you show everyone the coin you had? Or talk about it at all? Okay. I don't remember what I described it as, but the moon is what Juniper got. So you have a coin that essentially functions as wish.
Ooh, okay. So what, like, one wish can be made? Okay.
Yep.
Oh, now I'm gonna have to think.
Yeah,
I've
and
been thinking about what to do with that for 3 episodes.
Wish for a whale. Wish for a
No, the
whale.
whale just happened. There's better things to
Wish for a dragon. Wish for
Oh my
another
gosh,
whale.
a dragon army, an army of dragons. We can all have our own.
Just wish for the ziggurat to show up in front of us. Step onto it. There it is.
there are limits, remember. I'm not going to be D&D mean, but I'm not going to let you just get away with murder.
I
I mean,
wish to
you could
stop
wish to
the
get away with
bad
murder,
guy.
but...
I did ask if I could just wish the dark one in prison again, and
Yeah.
apparently that wasn't an option. So there you go.
Maybe two wishes is enough.
Maybe when Galaran gets bored, I'll wish for unlimited masks so he can sit there and break angrily.
All right, Juniper.
Yes.
You hear Sunny's voice in your head, and you know that you can ask one question, and you will receive a completely truthful answer. And you can also then get the wisdom on how to apply that knowledge if you need it. No, your mic went out.
I can weird voice stall again until the microphone
How's
is
this?
fixed.
There's a dog on the cable that doesn't help. So did I have to ask now or later? Or...
I think in this instance, you should ask now. If you'd like, you can hold on to it, because I can do Galaron, and then I think we might go to our break.
Completely truthful and the wisdom to apply it?
Yes.
How do we re-imprison the Dark One?
Great question.
Draw me a
Okay.
diagram, print it out, put it in my bag.
Blueprints. Imprison Dark One. How to? There it is.
One of those IKEA booklets, you know?
Well, you need 6 Allen wrenches, and you're gonna have a bunch of pieces that you don't know where they go. And if you don't mount it to the wall, it might tip over. That's what I know from IKEA.
And if there's extra pieces, you did it wrong and hope for the best.
So, Galaron, you're standing there, and your clothes change into white plate mail with gold trim, and your sword changes to match. And then we'll go to our break.
Everyone, go get a drink. Go stretch. Go give your pets love. Even though if they aren't like a huge sky whale, go give them love. Otherwise, we will be back. We'll be back in just a moment.
So, Galaran is now clad in white, shining white and gold armor. Everyone has been gifted something amazing by the dragon known as Sunny. And Juniper also has befriended a Leviathan.
Guy whale.
So,
Guy whale.
what is the group's plan at this point? Oh, right. Juniper, you had a question.
I did.
Yes. You're told that whatever that you're told that the Dark One is imprisoned in their temple in the ziggurat. You're going to have to go and find them and weaken them enough to reinforce whatever the prison is made of again.
And once we're there, I'll know how the reinforcing part works, because the weakening's on Galaran, let's be perfectly honest here.
Yes. Yep. It's, I have no idea, I haven't planned that far ahead. I don't know what's going to happen, but it'll be one of those things of, you'll know it when you see it.
Perfect. I can totally deal with that. I'm gonna point at my Sky Leviathan that I've gently coaxed down sort of half level where you can sort of get on it. Like, all right, guys, get on the wheel. Harper knows where the ziggurat is, and we're good to go.
I think Harper's taking one last look at the book to try and memorize the description of this float. I mean, there's not gonna be many floating islands in the sky, but she wants to get as much detail as she can before putting the book because she sort of strapped it to her back. She's going to try and remember most of it as much as she can before getting on the sky whale.
What about Galaran or Scout?
Oh man, Scout's ready. Scout is just gung-ho, fucking ready to go. She is gonna scramble up on this sky whale. It is. She wants to look around. There's gotta be people peering out windows. She wants people to see her climb onto this sky whale.
There better not still be people in the city.
No, there's no one to watch except for the group. We covered this finally.
I know you said that they were no one on the streets, but they still gotta be in buildings, right?
Surely people see how awesome we are.
There's only one way out, and then it's through a broken elevator. They gotta be hiding in buildings.
There's two elevators. There's also multiple elevators to get underground, which honestly, I mean, you're on a giant bridge. Would you really want to be on? I don't know. It doesn't make sense, but it doesn't have to.
The guards got it under control. Everybody is safe.
The guards finally got it under control.
That one drunk dad who loves to sit outside and watch the chaos, beer
well,
belly.
There's just one. There's one dad in a deck chair going.
Yes.
Looking at his drink as four people ride a Leviathan.
There's one dad in his white tank top sitting on the lawn chair with the can koozie and his beer, just I've been drinking too much.
Yeah, puts the beer down.
People in a Leviathan go by.
Puts the beer down. Also, thank you for that card. It is for Harper, so Mal, I'm going to get you to tell me when to stop again.
Okay. We'll
go in.
Death again, isn't it?
It better not be.
Stop. So.
It's
almost.
Bad. Almost. I think something's flying.
Okay. So. Does everyone climb aboard the Leviathan?
I'm sort of helping Scout on, and I'm sort of holding onto her more because she thinks at first it's because she obviously doesn't want Scout to fly off, but at the same time she's probably half of it is, oh my god, I hate heights.
Juniper's first one on. All right, Hopper, which way? Front, back, left, right. It's 3D, up, down.
Up.
Just up.
go up above the clouds, and then we should be able to get a good view.
All right. Up. Can is Galaran on yet, or is he?
Yeah, I imagine he would have been the last one on. He would have just looked at you all and taken a deep breath, stared at you for a second.
I mean, it's not a dragon. This has got to be better for Galaran than a dragon.
Right. But he would have stared at you all for a second and just kind of like, I wanted to remember this moment forever. And then he gets on the way out with them.
That's character growth, everyone.
Aww.
I'm
He
trying.
doesn't want to abandon us. He loves us.
We all have to have our story written down by the end of this.
Okay.
Up, apparently. Mental connection with my whale.
Yep, everyone climbs on. The whale starts to levitate up. Okay. Yeah, the whale levitates up. It's I don't know if this is gonna make sense to anyone else, but in Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, there's the giant whale that's with the windfish. Yep. So it's this big, I think it's like a sperm whale technically based on the shape. And it literally swims through the air. So it's...
All right, holding on for dear life. Thank God it's really big.
I think Harper's got like a head almost in like Scout's shoulder. Like, I don't want to look, I don't want to look, I don't want to look.
I'm just assuming Scout's gonna take care of Harper and just focus on
It's my job.
steering a Leviathan, and sort of going, this is not what I thought what would happen when I left my farm, like 4 days ago.
Jeez, it's been
4 days.
I imagine Galaran standing towards the front of the whale, like sword in his hand.
No,
One
don't put
foot-
the pointy end in the whale.
One foot in front of the other, standing like defiantly with his chest out, almost like Fire Lord Zuza when he was flying on the blimp to go do the final attack on the Avatar.
Yeah.
You saw Avatar: The Last Airbender. He's just standing there, except for with no evil intentions, just good intentions.
Just don't put the pointy end on the whale's
Yes,
back.
so that-
No. Turns out Leviathans only have 1 hit point. Sorry.
That would be hilarious and terrible all at the same time. So the whale sails through the air, swims through the air. Between Harper and Juniper, the whale seems to know where to go. The ziggurat is far, far to the north. It's Harper, having traveled, that it's somewhere in the kingdom that is in the north. And it's going to be a little bit of a trip to get there.
I think after a while, Harper does sort of look up, and she is sort of in awe over the view in general. But Scout, you will feel like hands really clinging.
Scout's got her arms in the fucking air, like, whoa!
All right. Harper, as Scout, you feel a pocket of the coat, a pocket in your dad's coat, slowly grow heavy, as if something's in it.
She sort of pauses for a moment, almost forgets how she's up in the air, and sort of reaches in. Still firm grip on Scout, but like one hand sort of goes into the pocket. and pulls out whatever is in there.
It's a small skull. It's about half the size of your palm. It's it's almost bird-like, but you know that it would be from the rare fairies that exist that haven't they're seen around. They don't necessarily exist in one location, but they're very rare.
She remembers her father telling her about things like this, and she looks down at it, and she's only seen it once before, and she'd almost just completely forgotten about it. And she holds it very delicately in her palm because she doesn't. She was told stories about these things, and she knows that the only reason her father kept it because it had some form of power. She never knew what it was, but she keeps hold of it.
As you hold on to it and as you look at it, you see that it's not quite the same from the last time you saw it. There's in shimmering blue writing, there's runes etched in along, like all over it, covering it.
She sort of like moves it up and down, almost in like this, in the light, to see it as this sort of blue shimmer and these runes sort of cast over the top of the skull. And it's a weird thing because she remembers seeing it once and she hated it. She hated that there was this skull that her dad kept in a pocket. She never understood it. But right now there's almost a weird connection to him via it because she'd almost completely forgotten. And it's almost got a slight wonder to it with this bluish glow.
And yeah, you know that there's something powerful stored in it.
And she closes her hand over it.
So the whale swims through the night sky. Higher and higher you crest through the clouds. Above you is the moon and the stars. Below you is the blanket of clouds. What are you doing, all of you, at this time?
Ryu and Ella.
Part of that didn't come through. Something about Ryu and Ella.
She's making me feel bad. They're fine. They know the importance of this mission.
Terrible.
I was hoping Ella would be able to get Ryu's back open empty. Because apparently we're going to be gone forever and ever and ever and days and days and days, and they're alone in a house locked away, and I couldn't turn the
I
Leviathan.
didn't lock the door. I didn't lock the door.
I did really consider to turn the Leviathan around, get the donkey, put the donkey on the Leviathan, grab the fox, and then go north.
There's a dragon gonna steal Harper's skin. We can't do that.
Can't I though? I mean, it's
Skin
my Leviathan.
snatching.
My Leviathan, kinda.
I wonder if I jump off of the Leviathan if Sunny would come to my rescue.
Let's find out.
And Scout muses out loud that actual statement. If I jump off this Leviathan, do you think Sunny would like scoop in to rescue me?
Harper's like, no. And it's like looking on.
No, we had this conversation. I've come to terms with the dragon. We don't put our faith in the dragons to save us. We put our faith.
I know, but do you think he'd feel bad because we're friends?
Well, you have friends right in front of you that need you on the whale, not flying around on a dragon.
Oh, that's true. It's just the dragon's faster. Scout just wants to find a reason to jump off this whale.
Jump off the nuts.
Just pick her up and chuck her right on off.
Here, I'll help you.
I mean, if you're gonna be rude about the speed of the Leviathan, you're free to get off.
No. Hey, we've come too far to not stay as united front. Come on.
You people tried to split up at every turn in that city. That's gonna
I
take some
didn't.
time to
I got left
divide
behind.
them. And in return,
Juniper, helping the masses of the people is what I used to do. I turned from that path, and you said you were here to save people and pay back a debt. Well, if nothing else, your conversation to me about your children reminded me that those who can do things should not turn from doing them. Like they have a certain purpose. So your conversation reinvigorated me to put aside the anger, and I naturally just jumped in to try to help the people in the city. So when I ran off, it was only to establish some order amongst the gods who are clearly
useless?
untrained for their positions, but to help save the people. And I apologize if you felt I abandoned you, but that's not what was my intention. I actually did it because of you. And I thank you for that.
I feel both honored. But yeah, little abandoned. I mean, you are the buff one with the big sword and the big muscles and the slightly less big ideas. But, you know.
Well, I do apologize, but my intention was to always find you and come back, not to abandon you all. Well, that's not true. My intention was to get you to the city
and then leave us
and part ways with you all until I told
What?
until I was not set on this purpose, Scout. I was not myself. And when I talked with the dragon and I said, just don't abandon them when they need you most, I thought to myself, that's what I would be doing. So between me becoming friends with all of you all and Juniper's talk about her children, I thought it was time to try to save the world again.
and we're lucky for it.
The only reason I was able to find you is because I said I described you and everyone remembered you.
We could not be here right now if not for every one of us. All of you played a part.
That's fair. You think I could keep the whale after we save the world?
Absolutely. Bring it to the farm. Your children will
I
love
mean, I think it's down to the whale.
it. If you feed it and give it a good home, I think so.
What do they eat though?
Mal, can I ask
Sky
you
crow?
what it eats?
Pollution.
Sky plankton?
Birds.
Not only do we save the world, we
They
save
eat
it from
they eat-
global warming.
They eat foxes and donkeys.
I will fight this whale.
Clouds. Filter. Or do they have fangs? Are they fanged whales? What do their teeth situation look like?
I don't know. Have you investigated closely?
Can Scout climb up there and look? She will.
We'll climb down there technically.
Ah, shit, you're right. I meant up as in forward, not up as
right.
in...
Yeah. It's just like whenever you have to drive somewhere far away, it's always I gotta go up there regardless of direction. I don't think the Leviathan eats. I think the Leviathan is magical enough that it's sustained on the world's magic.
Then frequent belly rubs opposed to good feeding.
It's a filter feeder. Filter through the magic.
I just if it eats magic, we can always just like cast some light on it at some point. Here, take the magic. Take the magic. Yeah, no, keep flying. Apparently, we need to go really far north to a ziggurat and save the world.
Yep.
Save the world. Save the world. We are going to do.
How much steering does the whale need? Because I think, at least, I think Scout probably needs a nap by now.
I'm tired.
Yeah. Just so we're gonna start with bedding down Scout. It would be unfortunate if this is like a really, 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 really long trip and Juniper has to be awake for all of it.
Well, you know, if I was a if I was a cruel GM,
Medium.
if I was a cruel GM,
But
this
you're
would be
a
like
lovely DM.
this would be like driving a car, and as soon as you're not paying attention, it does something you don't expect.
Sounds hilarious, but terrible.
Instead,
No,
it's playing with autopilot.
The Leviathan is essentially Appa from Avatar, and you've told it where to go. It knows what it's looking for. It can get you there without you controlling it.
Does the Leviathan need to sleep? Because Appa needs to sleep.
The Leviathan's okay.
Cool. Alright, let's take turns sleeping so we can see if someone threatens to roll off the side in their sleep or anything. But we can at least rest before we get where we're going.
Okay.
I'm just gonna give Rebecca to scout for like duo nap time because I'm pretty sure Rebecca's had enough by now as well.
See in the hair, nap in the hair. Gotta take a stretch and a nap on the big old whale.
There you go. I'll stay up for a bit. Watch the view. Say small prayers about Ryu and Ella.
You're fine, I swear.
Left behind.
I told them to be
Cold,
safe.
dark
They.
wood. All
I
of
told
them.
them. I told them to be safe. They'll be fine. They're smart.
Just think, both of them won't starve to death, right?
No, one will eat the other.
Exactly, that's what I meant. Both of them can't starve to death.
I mean, if we're gonna be semi-logical about this, I'm pretty sure Scout left that window open. The fox can get out if it wants to.
Okay.
I didn't shut the door all the way the second time.
Ryu
Oh, that's
tends
true.
To escape anyway.
I was in a
The
rush.
door
I left it
blazing.
slightly ajar in case of emergency.
All right.
That's right.
They're back at the farm by now.
Probably. They just went, screw this adventure crap. We're going home.
So to catch Alice up, there's been discussion of resting in the period of time to get to the ziggurat. The whale does not need to be driven like a car. It can take you there.
Yeah, I think Harper would. It's not that Harper would make a conscious effort to sleep. I think it's more that she would drop off, especially with the movement of this whale. Like, I think she'd be looking at the scenery and everything, and then slowly just not realizing how much energy was taken up over the last few days. And she'd probably just doze off, and Scout would feel that goof at the back, on her back, as Harper falls asleep.
Firing Galaran's new outfit, though. You're very shiny right now. Good look.
And it is the finest suit of armor. I had a suit, not nearly as bright as this, but you need light to conquer shadow, I think, and who knows?
I was about to say it doesn't look good for sneaking, but I guess we're kind of past the time for sneaking.
I think I'm more of a kick a hole in the door, reach through and open it kind of person than
You didn't reach through the hole in the door. You had Harper do it for you while you hopped around on one foot, regretting your life's choices.
I think we all regretted his life choices at that point, honestly.
I loved it. I'm so strong, I kick through the door. I don't kick the door open, I kick through it.
It went really well.
To add a third Avatar: The Last Airbender, note, I was like Toph. I am amazing. Remember, she's like, I am the greatest rock bender in the world.
To be fair, Toph was pretty amazing.
She was the greatest rockbender in the world. Earthbender. Yeah, she was
Yep.
great. Now I want to watch Avatar. The hell?
Everyone, when we're done here, we should all go watch Avatar. It's a great show.
Hell
I
yeah.
will. Okay, I said I will.
Both
need
of my
time.
dogs
I'm-
are named
I'm
after
talking to chat.
characters.
Chat. Avatar is a great show. You would
My dog's
probably all
pretty good.
enjoy it.
Has Alice not watched it before?
No, I
Apparently not.
had a copy and it didn't work properly. But it's on Netflix, so I will be
Yeah.
heading
I
over
watched
there
it with
this
my
week.
kids. It was great, and I watch it again once a year. I watched that series. Anyway, I think at some point during the trip now, Galaran will finally open that locket and look at what he knows inside. Kind of reflect on that a little bit on the trip.
Would Galaran shave with the time he's got on the whale?
He would definitely do more to become what he once was and clean up and
Whale
try to-
shave.
get rid
I
of
can't
the
believe you're
motion.
shaving on a whale. Like that's a moment.
Yeah, that's the threshold, Hopper, right? Not that we're on a whale, not that we're flying on a whale in the sky, or
You
A
chose
lightning
to
whale.
shave on the whale.
the one that just showed up. But that's the bar for you.
I don't know what you're talking about. Harper's asleep.
And I think we
Look for Harper when she wakes up.
I think we'll let time pass. Everyone gets to rest and recover and ready themselves as they can. And as the sun starts to rise over the horizon, the dark turns to gray, turns to pink, slowly brightens. Off in the distance, you see this massive black ziggurat with the same kind of lightning that the Leviathans were using, crackling around it, hovering high, high above the clouds.
I think Harper's words that almost like that. She doesn't mean to say it out loud, but she does. She's like, now what?
Leviathans were using the lightning. They're immune to it?
Now we head straight for it.
We're gonna head straight for that.
It's
Yeah.
imprisoned there. We know what we have to do. We have to reinforce the bond somehow, and Juniper will know what it's when we get there. I imagine there'll be like a glass case on the wall in case of demon escaping, break glass.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
I think Harper looks to Scout and is like, "You okay with this?"
Let's go fight this jerk. I used up all my
I'm
swears
proud of
yesterday.
you that you didn't swear, but yes.
Juniper just sort of looks over her shoulder at Harper and Galera and goes, "One of you is telling Mima about this, because I'm not."
Oh, I'll do it because I leave. I know I can leave the village, so.
You know Mima's really good with a bow and arrow.
She would have been good here.
Actually, let's just go back now and go get her.
Let's go get the
Let's
animals,
go get-
Mima,
Let's go get Mima.
Mima, the true champion of the people.
and a giant lion sea turtle.
All right. And I think as you're having this discussion of what to do, almost like in in Independence Day when the mothership lets loose the swarm of fighter ships, that happens from the ziggurat. And if you'll allow me, I'm gonna just give you a nice cinematic moment. So this dark cloud just swarms out, and it's Leviathans. And they're heading towards you quickly. And they start to attack. And rather than being the lightning you've seen in the past day, it's almost like concentrated beams. And these things arc through the air and take 90-degree turns and seem to home in on whatever their target is. And you all have to hold on as this massive swarm and this attack comes at you as your Leviathan rolls and dives and swoops around to avoid all of this. The wind's rushing past you. There's energy around you. Your Leviathan retaliates with its own attacks. The lightning now a yellow, almost gold, instead of black. And this cloud closes in front of you as if to block your path. And with a massive blast, your Leviathan fires and launches through as they scatter. And as your Leviathan reaches the ziggurat, it fires this energy once more, and it connects with the ziggurat and blows part of the not quite the top, but it blows a huge piece out of the side near the top. And you know that you have to jump down there. And that Juniper, you know the Leviathan, your Leviathan that you've befriended, will do its best to hold off everything else.
Oh no, the Leviathan's gonna sacrifice itself for us.
I love him so much. He's definitely coming home with me after this.
And it swims up to this opening as close as it can for you to get off and do what needs to be
Guys,
done.
let's jump. The Leviathan will hold them off as long as he can.
I think Harper holds out her hand to Scout. It's like, we're gonna jump.
Hell yeah!
And she, at that, Harper just like smiles and laughs and say, 3, 2, 1, and she's gonna like push them both off.
And yeah, Scout's gonna go, whoa!
I think Harper will as well. If Scout
Hell
is.
yeah!
If I was a cruel DM, I would make you roll dodge, but I won't. I want you to jump down, and it'll look awesome.
Hell yeah!
We superhero land.
Don't do that. That's bad for your knees.
It is. That is.
I'm
We
a
can
witch.
fucking roll.
I
Do we
mean,
have any protective spells or anything we can assist our only, as of right now, our only escape route?
Tuck and roll. And
No,
then
roll.
Harper jump.
No, for the Leviathan, Papa. Do we have anything to protect the Leviathan? It's our only escape route. If it dies, we're kind of stuck up here.
I
It's
can
okay.
ask the Leviathan to think of a happy time in his life and give a +2 to condition.
He's fine.
Can I make some sort of knowledge check? Anything? Taste that vial of soy sauce to see what it is. Soy sauce
Don't
is-
put soy sauce on a whale. That's just
Right
like
in the
bad
blowhole.
juju.
I don't know, something.
You're just telling him you want him to be sushi sooner.
Soy sauce of invulnerability.
Yeah, I think so I suppose this depends exactly on, so I'll say it during the trip, because you had time, if you wanted to ask like Harper or Juniper to identify the vial, you probably had time to do that.
Sure.
And it essentially functions like Blink from D&D.
Okay.
So if you maybe, I don't know what you're thinking, but if you maybe wanted to feed the vial to the Leviathan, it would have Blink.
I kind of want that for myself.
That's valid. I'm just.
I think we're gonna need it more than Leviathan.
I
I
mean,
think you probably
you
need
were
it
the
for
one
the
wondering
Leviathan
if you
as
could
well.
help the Leviathan, and so there's a thought for you.
Ah,
I just
damn,
imagine us
thought-
all trying to jump back on it, and Blink's like, "Psych!" We all fall.
Oh my god, no.
I'm thinking more. You give it to it, and then it's dark energy source toward it, and then blink, and then misses.
I just remembered Scout has an orange polka dotted mushroom from like episode 2 that she has.
And
Yep.
a leaf that tastes like soap.
I have a great orange, but I'm pretty sure it just gets rid of poison, not anything else.
Now, do I know that the potion does it have a mass limit? Like, will it work on Leviathan? Is it a duration? Is it a one-time thing?
Max 100 kilos. Only his tail gets blink.
I don't think there's a limit. It probably would. If anything, I think it's almost like alcohol, where the more mass you have, the less effective it is. So it would affect the Leviathan and it would help. It just won't last as long as if like a person took it.
All right, I'm going to make a roll for myself.
Maybe I should just cast Vacation Vitality on the whale. Make it feel like it went to Cabo or something.
Yeah, this is,
Going on holiday.
I
The
definitely
whale-
don't think this. I don't think this is going to work on the whale. So I'm just gonna jump off after Juniper jumps off. I'm gonna be like after you.
No, I'm just gonna quickly cast +2 condition on a whale. Make it feel just thank you for flying us here, for finding your inner whale. Hope you feel better. There.
You're forgiving for killing all those people down below, Darth Vader. You're forgiven now.
It didn't want to do that, okay? God, it's so rude. There, and I'll jump down.
Well, I was gonna say, whilst you're trying to make the whale feel better about herself, Scout and I have jumped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Scout and I are like there, ready to party.
Shouting,
Yeah,
wait,
yeah, I'm
shouting,
coming,
wee. All right. So I think we all get off the whale now.
I'll hop one
'Kay.
down.
You all hop down. The whale dodges out of the way of some more attacks and flies off to deal with everything that's going on around the ziggurat. The ziggurat looks a lot like Bronze Crossing, except older. Hundreds, maybe thousands of years older. It's magic and technology and things that maybe never were seen even back when it was created. It's empty. The corridors are dark except for lights that glow black but somehow illuminate just enough to see. And it actually doesn't take long for you to get to it doesn't take you long to get up higher to where you need to be, because the way this thing is built, it's obvious that the dark one would be at whatever the highest point is. And you walk through the corridors and you clamber up some of the destruction that your Leviathan did to get you here. And I'm sort of imagining, I'm similar to like in Ghostbusters when the apartment explodes, you have this like partial room now with an exposed wall. And in this area is this large black Asian style sinuous body of this dragon. So you've come.
Hey, what else were we gonna do?
Indeed, what else were you going to do?
We're just gonna kick ass.
You can say it, Scout.
Kick your ass.
There you go.
What she said.
Its eyes turn to you, Harper. This would be so much easier if you would just help me.
Easier for you.
You can't take her skin. That's weird and creepy.
And rude.
Very rude.
And like Harper does look scared, but she's almost trying to make it. She's trying to hide it because Scout is so like and wants to keep Scout in that mode rather than Scout actually realizing fully what could happen here.
This is a steal your skin kind of dragon.
Yeah.
I'm Galorant to see what he's doing, because I think at least for the weakening part, we're gonna need Galorant at the.
So I think there's this conversation, and you all smack talk the fucking dragon, which is amazing. And
Don't have me.
Hold my earrings, we're going in.
There's a blast of black lightning that you've seen a lot. That is apparently one of the things that it does, and it showers the room in debris. And everyone, roll initiative, please.
I'm gonna find a dragon.
Good game time.
Oh dear.
Where was initiative again?
It's in the checks. It's underneath hard exercise.
Underneath.
The music's getting it done.
I'll have you know that I've been sitting on this track the entire season for this moment.
I freaking love it. Oh my gosh, Mel. I want this music.
Oh, mine's muted. Hold on, I want to hear it.
The playlist with us, right?
I need
Yes.
this music.
I will share the playlist with all of you in the Discord for the channel for the game.
Okay, I'm ready to fight a dragon. Harper rolled really badly, so she's just gonna limber up. She's gonna do like lunges and stretches. Yeah, I'm gonna do this. Just gonna.
Yeah.
I have the lowest initiative.
Practice your mean face. I rolled really good, which is amazing because I've got nothing.
Let me know. Actually, yeah, that's a little loud on my end. I want to hear it, but I want to be able to hear what's going on also.
Fair.
Okay. And then I need to roll initiative. Okay. All right. So I love doing the JRPG fight. So this happens, and we get that particle effect as the scene changes, because I love it, because I grew up in the 90s.
Final
And
Fantasy 7 stuff.
Final Fantasy style, you're
Love
all
it.
on one side, the huge
favorite.
dragons on the other side.
And we're all bobbing
Our
like
idol
that.
animation.
Yep. Yep,
We're
you've got
bob
your
at the
idle
side.
animations. Yep. What are some things in the room that you can use in this encounter? Juniper.
It's a partly destroyed ziggurat, right? I think there's a bunch of piles of rubble that you can use to hide behind your dodge. Lots of piles of stone.
All right. Galaran, what's something in the room?
I imagine that the room is much like the flying pyramids or Stargate, like I said. So there's maybe like walkways that just go up that have been blown off, and like they have nowhere to go, and maybe some just how there's just walkways and different levels. You know, there's like an altar over here, maybe a walkway that goes up, and the bridge was broken down. Just things that you can get behind, get cover, or get high ground on.
High ground.
Anakin, I have the high ground.
Oh, you're right. Sorry, I'm done.
Harper.
Question. This is it like, is there any, not ornaments in it, but I know it's like a prison effectively. Are there any metal sort of items or anything to that sort of, you know, would this dragon have not been hoarding? I know dragons will put like anything else in there, or is it literally stone?
I mean, I'm not sure what you're thinking of, but like it's primarily metal. Like it's a technological and magic thing. So it's
if there's like
mostly
any
metal.
bars or anything like that, like anything that would, she's gonna be, there'll be something like that around.
Okay. Maybe like exposed
I have a
bars or
crowbar.
pipes.
I forgot
You do
I
have a
have
crowbar. You also have a new thing that we talked about.
I do have a new thing. Thank you for that skull card.
Okay. Scout.
Lanterns for light.
Okay.
This is my idle
Okay.
animation, guys. I'm excited.
Don't forget to breathe, Marie.
Never.
In each corner, there's a pillar, and on top of the pillar is an orb. That's what I will add to the room.
Okay.
For creating things I can smash.
Do these orbs look like they're like swirling with anything, like they look like magic? Like they're gonna do something?
They look. It's definitely magical. They don't seem to be swirling as if powered by magic necessarily, but if you want to give me a perception check, I'll give you some more information.
Yeah, I'll do a perception check. Oh no.
So you're glancing around, you notice these, and you're glancing around, and so the way that it's essentially like they're in the four corners, right? And so you can't really see the ones as well that are further away under where the dragon is. but the one over by the piece of wall that's broken, you can see that it's cracked, it's spiderwebbed, and it's yes, the wall was just blown up, but the damage doesn't look new.
Okay.
So, with that all decided, Juniper is first.
Sama, there's different areas in battle, right? And the dragon that we're fighting is in its own little area that doesn't overlap with any of ours?
Essentially, yeah.
Great. I would like to try and cast a spell on it, because we are... No, wait, does it have a physical form right now?
No, you're looking at what, you're not sure. It definitely looks more physical than what you saw back in Bronze Crossing.
I have a feeling that the dragon might be able to use magic, which concerns me for many reasons. So Juniper is going to cast a spell called the Min Cicada Chorus. And the loud cries of cicadas fill the area, disrupting concentration. For the next 6 rounds, anyone who attempts to cast a spell must first beat the caster in a contested check. If this person attempting to cast a spell loses, the spell automatically fails. Plugging one's ears does not stop the effect.
Okay.
If he wants to try and cast a spell, he has to bite me.
Okay.
But does that count
But
for everyone in the room?
So does everyone else, yes.
That's why I asked if his area covered our area.
Well, I think in the way you described that to me, I think the AoE on that would still affect the rest of the party.
In that case, I might want to try something back. I already said it.
I mean,
Sorry,
maybe
I don't know how areas work in this game.
Right. I mean, we're figuring it out in the finale, everyone. Welcome to RPGs 101, where you just fuck it, we'll do it live all the time.
What am I doing?
All right. Well, you are right. Being that the Dark One's gonna go next, it is all going to try and cast a spell. So we need that contested check.
Great. It's a spirit plus spirit check. So 2 spirit die. Well, I look up what my spirit die are again. Why is Roll 20 being a hell beast right now? There's a pop-up in my chat window which makes me not be able to see what I'm typing.
Ooh.
Okay.
Nature
So
sounds are overpowering.
the spell fails then, I guess, right?
Yes.
Because the dragon can't concentrate.
What you get for being out of practice? I mean, he hasn't done spells in ages, probably.
All right. When the spell fails, it growls and lashes out with its tail towards Galaran. Galaran, please roll a dodge for me.
I will use one of my advantages right now.
Okay.
All right.
Hey.
Okay. So, this black tail lashes towards you, and I think, maybe what happens is, you can't quite get out of the way, but as you raise the sword up and position yourself, it lashes against your armor, and you don't take any damage because you succeeded to dodge.
Very sorry, Harper. This spell also works on you.
And then it's Galaron's turn.
Can I drink that potion and still?
You cut out there. Can you drink the blink potion and still get an action? Yeah, that I can't hear you now.
I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
Yep.
So is it much like D&D where you can kind of move, take a quick action, then attack?
Yeah, we can do it like that. I'm cool with that.
So he's gonna kind of laugh when the lash hits him, drink the vial, run up that archway I was talking about, and then just jump off, come down as hard as he can on
Okay.
wherever the massive dragon is. And I'm gonna blow my nose.
Okay. Well, it's a good thing you decided to do that, because otherwise it's going to make you roll to see if you blink right before the attack connects. Because you did just drink that potion.
Yeah.
So yeah, you run up the side of this thing and you leap towards the dragon, and what does this attack look like when you connect?
I imagine, he's running with the sword almost dragging, and then he jumps off and does a huge wind-up and uses the whole momentum of it to come down and an overhead slash as he jumps down, And I probably would have only ran up like 5 feet. I'm not running up 20 feet and then jumping to fall down. I'm just getting some leverage is all. And he just drives it home. And that just does the max damage, I think, or something. What did Scrat say it did last time?
Yeah, Scrat said it does the max damage on the die.
That would be
which I think was 9. Because you rolled max before he told us.
Yeah, because it's that plus that.
Doesn't his shiny golden sword hurt more than his previous non-golden sword?
Light conquers shadows, that's all I'm saying. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I think
magical right now.
No,
I
I
think
agree. I agree. You have a +1 magic sword.
Okay, so it's 6
Damn
plus
straight.
3 for 3 proficiencies make 9 plus 1 makes 10.
Yep. Totally.
Yeah.
I want to watch you all be badasses. So you attempt to drive it home. So are you then like standing on the dragon with your sword in it, or hanging off
He's
your
gonna definitely
sword
talk
as
some
it?
shit real quick. He's gonna be like, your reputation far exceeds your abilities. He wants it to attack him and not his friends.
I hate it and I love it. Harper, it's your turn.
Harper, I think, seeing everyone sort of rush at this festival, she's going to start to conjure up the shooting star spell as she starts to just try and swirl this ice around in her hand and sort of throw it towards this creature just to see if it actually does anything.
Okay. You're gonna need to roll against the cicada disrupting concentration.
Okay, I'm going to use
Can I willingly
one of my
fail?
advantage.
I don't think in this instance you can willingly fail.
Sorry. Let's hope I roll bad.
What am I rolling for this? Sorry.
Your spirit died twice.
My spirit die. I'm trying to find my spirit die.
It'd be in your stats.
Yeah, I'm just. Where is it? Da, 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 da. Oh, okay. No, that's not what I meant to do. I'm sorry. There we go.
Oh, nice, you beat me.
There you go. All right. So the spell does go off. So you roll 1 spirit die to deal damage equal to whatever you get.
Okay.
Sometimes that happens.
Yep. It's just a bit.
I think maybe what happens is you have to spend extra energy to overcome Juniper's spell is what happens, and you do get the spell off, but it's definitely not as powerful as you would have liked.
Yeah, it sort of does that frost rather than anything actually damaging.
And then it's Scout's turn. If I'm assuming Harper's done.
Scout is feeling some type of way. She adrenaline is pumping. This is her first real fight. I mean, she fought those like chicken eggs, but that's the only other combat she's ever been in her life besides like, I don't know, hitting little boys with sticks. So she's like full of this adrenaline. She can barely think, and she watches Harper do this thing with her hands, and Scout kind of like mimics it, and she's going to cast Shooting Star, just like Harper does, or at least she's gonna try and do it like Harper does.
You're gonna need to roll against those cicadas.
I'm gonna use an advantage because I run d6s, not d8s.
Look, I'm sorry, I didn't know how areas worked.
It's okay.
I still don't
You're
know
still
how
doing
areas
well.
work.
All right, roll yours first so I know what I'm up against. I'm getting anxious.
Oh, fuck.
Fuck! I can only get that at 2 nat 20, 2 nat 6s.
Yeah.
You can do it. No, you can't.
Do I have any bonuses?
You have advantage.
Yeah,
I know,
you said
but
you were gonna roll. You said you were gonna use advantage.
I
weren't
know,
you?
I know. I'm
There you-
meat beat.
We'll count.
beats,
We'll,
right?
Yeah, we'll count meat beats. Yeah, totally.
Ah, cool. Okay, so she's gonna roll a d6 of damage, and she's gonna do 1 more damage than Harper did with it.
Okay.
And when she does it, she's just gonna go ah, and then she's gonna go ah.
So, like, because she's copying this spell, does it do the exact, like, it looks the exact same as what Harper did? Or is it different because it's her because it's Scout's magic?
What season are you, Harper?
Winter.
Yeah, so yours is icy. Well, mine, I'd say mine's probably more of like a yellowish in hue, almost like, kind of like the way the sky looks on like a big yellow moon when all the stars look kind of yellow. Got kind of a crinkling of the crisp autumn air.
Okay. I think, yeah, I think that's good. It looks yellow, and I think because you managed to get through the cicada noise to finish the spell, and it's a little stronger than you were expecting, and so there's this like trail of yellow, and at the very front there might just be this like pinpoint of what might be the start of a star.
Yeah. It's trying. It's a holy shit, I did a magic on my own hands.
I'm imagining if for summer magic or fall magic that it looks like the shooting star in Howl's Moving Castle if it's strong enough.
Very good.
And that brings us back to Juniper at the top of the initiative.
Can you talk during combat? Like, can I say something? I have to wait for my turn.
I mean, I think you can talk. I just, you can't sit there and debate for 10 minutes in between each person's actions.
So I'll shout out, Juniper, we don't need to kill it. We need to trap it. Powerful beings than us couldn't kill it before. That's what I'll say.
Thank you, Captain Obvious. I want to look around and see if I understand how to imprison this thing.
You see in 4 corners
Those
pillars,
stupid orbs.
and on top of the pillars, 4 orbs.
I don't know how this works in combat. Can I run towards one of the pillars and study one of those fancy schmancy orbs?
Totally. Give me a perception check.
Oh, Lord. I mean,
Or
yeah,
a sense,
perception.
because it's magic.
Oh, terrible. I work on a farm, alright?
Listen, Scout's been yelling all season long, Juniper's a witch, look at her, be amazing! So do it! Be amazing right now!
Be amazing! Be amazing, Juniper! Shine!
I'll lose an advantage as well.
Let us love you!
All right, so you look at this orb, and You're behind this orb is that broken wall, and you see these spiderweb cracks all around this thing. And as you look at it, under the darkness that's covered it, you see bright yellow. And as you look to your right at the other corner, you see warm orange. And as you turn to your other direction, you see green. And you know, before you look, you know what you're going to find, and you turn and you spot the last one, and under the darkness you see white. It's the 4 seasons.
It is the 4 seasons. So yellow is summer, green is spring, orange is fall. We don't have all of those. That's great. Maybe Sunny can do spring.
Galaran can be our summer witch.
Am I currently touching the yellow one?
Sure, you can be touching it.
Great. Let's just try and cast a summer spell into this and see what that does. Which one has the summer descriptor?
Or spring. Spring is what we're looking for.
I don't have spring. Hey, spring is green, right? I'm with the yellow one.
But what are we gonna do for spring?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna start with summer.
Okay.
I will cast Koru Pokuru Leaf into the orb, or at least, use that to channel summer energy into this orb while I stare daggers at Galaran going, see, I'm trying. Being amazing here. Focus.
So you, oh god, I forget what it's called in Lord of the Rings, but it's like you put your hands on the big orb and you're the Palantir, yeah, and you're sort of seeing inside it, and you feel the magic you channel go into it, and you glance at Galaran, see, look, I'm helping, and then you look back at the orb and you see the cracks slowly start to fuse back together.
Great. I know we're not supposed to shout at each other, but I'm just going, colors are seasons, use your magic.
I don't have season magic. I have
your
star
full scout,
magic.
Get to the orange one.
Okay.
Just think of the leaves again. Think of the leaves.
All right. Is that Juniper's turn then?
I think that's more than enough.
Okay.
I've contributed.
It's so done. Just let me go home, get my donkey. And go.
Look, I did a thing. I figured
my
it out,
kid's
and
alive.
I did a thing.
The Dark
Boosting
One's going
animals
to
left
try
and
and
right.
cast a spell again.
At who?
I don't think he's gonna tell us until he succeeds. Oh, I'm opposing this, right?
Yes, please.
I have more advantages. I think this is a good time for an advantage.
Sure. Chat, now would be a good time to give the wonderful DM advantages.
No.
Don't.
Oh, hey, I have advantages. Look at that.
Crap. I only have a 7. Also, I broke my pen in half.
I am going to spend an advantage so that this can get rolled twice.
Crap.
Okay.
Yes. You didn't even need it.
So, as everyone's in the middle of doing these actions, and Juniper's like, the seasons, cast your magic at it. Galaran, I'm helping. Scout, go to fall. You're autumn. Everything around the Dark One stops. The 4 of you stop moving. And it gains 1d4 rounds to do more actions.
Excuse me?
He's like super OG dragon.
Aren't we like level 1?
This is
We're
where
level
we
1
die.
finding God. It's fine.
Give me a minute. I'm gonna go find my physical dice. I will be right back.
We're gonna die.
Well, our
When
dungeon
the
master is
DM
gone.
goes to get physical dice, you know it's bad.
Yeah.
You know it's bad.
I'll just go
Exciting, but bad.
I'll just go have a nervous pee break while he's gone.
Yes.
Fair.
Oh gosh.
I'm a child, though. DMs are usually wary about killing children.
I love that you think that's gonna save me.
I just want to say, I've had this thought in the past before, but I was reminded specifically because Alice did this on Monday. So if anyone wants to get mad, I learned it from watching Alice.
That's it. Blame me. It's so good.
It would help if I grabbed the right die, though.
It's true.
Okay. That's kind of what I was expecting.
Okay.
All
Okay,
right.
what?
So the dragon gains 1d4 rounds to do more magic. And
Thank you. Shivers donates a disadvantage to every player, not the DM.
Okay. So all you can do is watch as the dragon gets to do things, and luckily I rolled a 1. And you see the dragon coil up, and this red energy envelops it. And as you watch, the damage that Galaran has done seems to heal.
You best.
And then it's Galaran's turn as time resumes moving.
He just saw this damage gouge he put in there, like reknit itself.
Huh?
He just saw this damage he just did to it, kind of like almost just reknit itself.
Yep.
I think he's gonna kind of like Kill Bill this moment. The lead. Remember when she was fighting the girl and she just goes, "You bitch," and then attack the dragon again.
Okay. I'm gonna make you roll your attack with that disadvantage we were so generously donated.
Can I hold my action to right after I blink make my attack so I don't blink out mid sword swing? Can I? Because I know I'm going to blink any second. So can I wait until the blink takes effect? Like hold.
I think what it will do is we'll just kind of do what D&D does, where you make the attack roll. If you succeed, then we roll the, like, if you blink, and then the same would happen if something attacks you.
Okay, gotcha.
Does that work?
Works for me.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Now I get +3 to this roll, right? Because I have 3
I believe so.
in this, and then I have. Does the sword work for damage too, or just for attack, or what?
The sword is only, the +1's only for damage.
Okay, all right, copy that. So, go around, and where is attack at?
I think you just roll the sword check.
Okay. Where would that be? I'm sorry. Just click the blade. Yeah,
I think so, yeah.
that did not work. Is it under? I'm sorry. Is there any stats or checks? I can't find this. I'm sorry.
I'm not sure because I don't have any weapons on my sheet.
Hold on.
It should be under inventory, under the weapons tab in inventory.
Okay, there it is. I got you. Okay, here we go. So 2 times.
Yep.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Okay. Yeah. So wow, that's still high. Jeez. I think you're still gonna manage to hit it if you manage not to blink. So why don't you just roll a d6 and we'll do 1 through 3 you hit it, 4 through 6 you blink.
How do you roll just a simple 1d6?
Slash
roll.
R space 1d6.
Whoop.
So you start to swing in it, and you realize that even though you can see everything, your blade just passes right through it in that moment.
Okay.
Slam bam. Goddamn.
Yeah, it's kind of like Juniper's spell. It's a benefit, but it also is potentially a hindrance.
Can you control where you blink to, or do you just go like out of existence in the same spot?
If you want to move, because you're still in your turn, and reappear somewhere else as part of the blink, I will let you do that.
Yeah, halfway up that ramp where I could jump down in the water. Where is the ramp into where the dragon is and where the orbs are?
I think that it's... I think that as big as the dragon is, the room is small enough that like you can pretty much be anywhere in the room and hit the dragon.
Okay, so I want to try to get closer to the orbs on a higher perch if I can.
Okay.
So if there's a level that we said there's multiple different levels, if there's something nearby where I'm still within swinging distance of it, I can get to it. If not a big deal. But the goal is to get closer to the orbs while still being able to melee attack the dragon or take the melee attacks of the dragon.
Okay. Let's say that you happen to move towards an orb. You're not sure which one, but it's up on this secondary floor that's a little above everything else. You can still hit the dragon on your next turn, and you're up there by this orb. Does that work?
Works for me. And my disadvantage is gone?
Yep. All right. And that brings us to Harper's turn.
Harper is going to, first of all, she's going to take that skull sort of that's in her pocket, and she's going to not crush it, but she's holding it very tightly and summoning that winter magic into it until it forms this huge ice sword. And she's going to start running towards this orb. It's almost like she's using the sword more as like if this thing comes down on her and attacks, she wants to parry it. So first she knows she's seen Juniper, she's heading straight towards the orb that could be the winter one. She's got this ice sword in hand as she runs. She's half surprised because she almost didn't realize that was what was going to come out of this skull. So you see her look really awkward with a sword, but she runs.
I have a quick question. Does this sword look like a sword that your father would have used, or does it manifest as a sword that Harper would be inclined to use?
It looks like a mix of both. Like the blade itself is almost clear like ice, and the shape of it is exactly the same as the one that her father had. However, the hilt is slightly different and sort of carved almost into the ice along the hilt is a fox.
Okay.
She goes.
And so you're running towards the orb. Would you like to try and do anything with the orb?
She's literally just going to slam her hand on it and force whatever magic she has into it.
Okay. Why don't you just roll me your spirit, like as if you would cast a spell?
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay. You, with sword in one hand, you slam your palm down on this orb, and you see, as Juniper had told you what orb was what, you see this swirl of white in the darkness, and you just will this winter magic into this orb. And the winter orb doesn't have any cracks on it, but you feel the winter energy pulse inside it, and there's this small white... It's almost like there's an orb in the center of the orb, and it starts to glow and pulse as you shove this magic into it. And that's a really good roll. So this glow overtakes, and the darkness is essentially banished from the orb you're standing next to, and it glows pure winter white.
And she's holding onto it, and she's looking around at everyone else in the room, but still standing very ready with her eyes on this dragon, sword raised.
And that brings us to Scout's turn.
Scout was told she has to go to the orange orb. So she's gonna scurry over to this orange orb, trying not to like trip or fall or do anything embarrassing. And she's gonna put both of her little hands on it. She's gonna press her forehead to it. And she's gonna scrunch up her little face, and she's gonna go, leaves, 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 leaves. And she's going to try and cast the spell of the autumn magic fallen leaves into this orb.
All right, please roll me spirit.
I'm gonna do it with an advantage, because, we know how this works. Is it a 2d6 each, or is it... I don't know how I'm doing. I just rolled 2 3s, but...
Your spirit died twice, so 2d6, and if you're rolling advantage, 2d6 twice.
Ah, okay, well that's 6 then, and we'll roll it again for the 2d6 for another 6. It's 6. My answer is 6. I have 6.
Okay. Scout runs up and puts her hands on this orb and puts her head against this orb and just leaves, 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 leaves. And I can imagine she's probably getting louder and almost like yelling at it with all this stuff going on around her. Do you think that's correct?
Oh yeah, she's panicking.
And she probably has her eyes closed because she's focused so hard on this. And the rest of you can see the glow, the orange glow start to come through. But Scout, with your eyes closed, what you realize is you smell pumpkin pies,
Hey.
the scent of the crisp autumn, the freshly harvested grain from Bluefield. And when you do finally open your eyes, your orb is glowing orange.
I'm a witch! Not your wife!
And that brings us to Juniper's turn at the top of the round again.
Okay, so we have 3 glowing orbs. I'm talking to you. So we have
Yes.
three glowing orbs, and the spring one that's still empty.
Yes.
Juniper's going to go to the green orb. And she's going to grab a certain coin she still has. And she's just going, Sunny, I don't know if this is if I need to be talking to you for this or how this works, but just to plead my case, summer and spring are really close together. They're like side by side. So I kind of need some kind of spring magic now, and just, you know, spring, daybreak, flowers, and she's just running in her mind, running through everything she remembers about her favorite spring ever, and just trying to cast spring magic with that coin she has.
All right. I think you run up to the spring orb, and your one hand's on it and one hand is clutching that coin, and you feel that first warm spring day when the snow starts to melt come from your palm, and you watch the coin almost melt like snow through your fingers. And please roll me spirit as if you'd cast a spell.
I will use one of my last advantages.
Use them now. That's the finale.
This is it. Seven. Definitely
All right.
7.
A 7 is a 7 is a 7 is a 7.
7.
It's unusual because you're not spring magic. You're summer. But you think of the first rain after the snow is finally melted. The smell of the flowers starting to bloom. Even the mud from the fields. And you feel the spring magic go in this orb. And all of you can see as this last orb glows with the season energy, they flash their colors, and then each orb changes colors in turn until it's almost like watching a rainbow of the 4 colors. And the Dark One's eyes go wide. You may have succeeded now, but you haven't stopped me. I will come back. And this rainbow, it's almost like this rainbow envelops in a pillar the Dark One. And you watch it as the rainbow dissipates, the Dark One is gone. Do you have a moment? And you realize, as you all look out the broken wall, that the ziggurat is falling.
Harper's like, run! Like, towards this,
Back to the sky whale!
yeah, like, it sort of grabs hold of Scout and starts pulling her straight back towards
Scout's
the edge.
going like, I'm a witch!
And she's like, yep, and a good one, go! And sort of like pulling her by the collar and dragging her out towards the edge, towards the well.
Yep. And I think you all run out towards this edge, and you see the Leviathans under the control of the Dark One also starting to like fade like mist. And in a moment, your Leviathan comes over. Your Sky Whale comes over, and you leap on, and you ride it away. And does anyone watch the explosion, or are you all too cool?
I love explosions.
Are these
I'm
scouts?
I'm kind of envisioning it fall. It doesn't fall on top of the city where everybody's hiding, does it?
No, no.
Oh yeah, so we flew far away.
Yeah, so those of you that watch, you watch this, the black energy starts to fade away, and this monolithic thing just tilts and starts to fall out of the sky as you ride away. And oof, we're running up hard on the time limit, but I'd really like an epilogue scene from everyone of what they do once they get back.
All I know is while we're currently on the skywall, as everything is falling to the ground, Scout's gonna say, how are we gonna explain this one to Mima?
I'm gonna let you do that. She looks over at Scout.
That sounds fair. You're all grown up now, right? You can do this.
It's your first
Hey.
adventure. They're the rules. You're the one who has to explain.
Okay, I can tell her.
Okay. So, I want to say, unless you have other ideas, these epilogue scenes will be a couple of weeks later, maybe a month later.
Mhm.
We'll just go in order of what I can see on the Zoom chat. Juniper, what's your epilogue?
Well, I'm back on the farm. The farm has been expanded. There are several new barns and fields that are meant to house more exotic creatures. The farm has also gone a little more dangerous. I think it's been a few weeks. I think Juniper's either just coming back or just heading out from one. Like, she's going on short adventures to like gather interesting things that they're now going to keep on the farm. One of her children probably has like an arm in a sling, you know, like don't go near the barn, they do it anyway. And her husband's just sort of going, that's great, honey. As he just casts another healing spell on someone and just dodges some kind of mutant egg running across a field.
Hell yeah.
So I think I like the idea of you're coming back from another short adventure, and in your hands you have a small brown and white spotted egg.
Yes.
And you know it's gonna be a dragon someday.
Yes. Ah, perfect. Just perfect. I'm gonna keep you. I'm gonna pet you. You're gonna grow up to be big and strong.
Harper.
Harper, I think, She heads back. She has to drop Scout off. But she does say to Scout before she goes, she's like, I will come back once a month. And any month you want to leave, you can come with me.
Sounds good. I will be a stronger witch by the time you come back.
And she sort of gives her a bit of a grin. And there is a lot more confidence, I think, in Harper now.
Aww.
And she sort of smiles. And she will disappear away from the village. Again, she'll probably really savor that night back sleeping in the forest where everything's quiet and everything's calm. And she'll try to find that village again where that tavern was. And she will go back to that tavern. And it would have been many, many years, around 18 years since she went. That woman is still behind the bar. Gives her sort of a look of recognition. And Harper smiles and she orders a pie. She orders the beer that her dad would have drunk. She tastes it, she still hates it, and puts it down. And she will savor that pie again. But she won't sleep there. She will leave the tavern and find somewhere to prop herself up and probably read that book. But it's more she still travels, but she has places to go back. And it's almost like she wants to go back, and a lot more regularly than before.
I love it. Galaran.
I think as walking everybody back, he'll take a moment to talk to Juniper and say, I told you you were going to save us all. And if nothing else, you helped me become what I'm supposed to be. And I'll always thank you for that. And I'd love to stop by for dinner in the area whenever I'm around, if that's okay with you.
Always welcome.
Get to know your family and your children, and just watch the joy of family again.
This is the part where Juniper's gonna give you a hug, like a really big one.
He hugs you back. When he drops off Scout, he says, Scout, I want you to hold on to something for me. It'll distract me in my travels, but I will always know where to find it. And he's going to give you a locket. And listen, those are my brothers who's passed, but I'd like to think that I can come back and now visit a little sister, if that would be okay with you.
Oh my god. Oh my god. You know what Scout's going to do? In that moment, Scout's going to pull out a small locket herself. If I'm going to watch this one, you got to watch this one. And it's of her parents.
Deal. And I take it. And then those months down the road, as Harper's sitting under a tree somewhere, Galaran will walk through, step up, say, I never gave this to you, but this looks like it was on your father. And now that you've had some time to deal with it, I want to head back north and talk to the king, and I want to adventure and not so much mercenary part, and I would enjoy it very much if you accompanied me.
And she sort of takes this and looks at it and starts to tie it around her wrist. I'd like that, but I did promise I'd come back and see Scout whenever I can. And she smiles like, I'll come with you to the king. But there's this great place that does pie on the way.
Oh my god, boyfriend and girlfriend!
It's like, I think we should stop there.
Deal.
And she sort of shakes his hand awkwardly, but shakes it.
Pushes her hand aside and goes, stop being ridiculous. And he gives her a hug.
And she does that sort of lean in and hug. Yeah.
Okay. And then we're going over by a minute or two, but I need Scout.
As the weeks have passed, Mima has had to deal with a myriad of things: shouting, screaming, sweeping plentiful amounts of leaves from her house, explaining to the neighborhood kids why there are 2 moons in the sky instead of 1, and a bunch of other offset things. But the epilogue is when Scout has finally gotten her bearings, and she's sitting on a small hill with all of the other kids in the neighborhood and in the town, and she is explaining the grand tale of the story. And at the portion when she gets to the ziggurat collapsing, one little boy starts shouting, this is fake, you're lying, you're telling tall tales. And all the other kids get involved in this like shouting of tall tales, when a very friendly voice from behind clears their throat. And I think that would be the one moment that Sunny would come to visit Scout in the town, saying, I haven't heard this part of the story yet. You all need to be quiet so she can finish.
Yes. And for our last epilogue scene, we see an Asian woman with a blue streak in her hair reading a book. The last few sentences talking about the collapse of the ziggurat and these 4 people riding away on a Leviathan. She closes the book and puts it on a shelf in a room with a big bay window, and she looks at a small child with white hair and smiles. And that's where we'll end the campaign.
Oh my god! We've done it.
I loved it.
We've done it.
It was so good. So good.
I got a dragon egg.
You get a dragon.
I get
Right.
a dragon. Everything
Please, this was amazing, Mel. I absolutely loved it. But otherwise, please go check out all the links that are coming up in chat now. That includes our wonderful sponsors in the form of Hero Forge, Mage Hand Press, the Deck of Many. But stick around because Scrat is about to go live with the Color Mini Creator, and it's really awesome. So we're gonna hop off now, but stick around and see that. I'm gonna miss this game, but otherwise keep evoking emotions, and we'll see everyone later.
And I'm gonna hand the Mal for running that.
Yes,
Yes,
Mal, you were amazing.
Great game.
Thank you, Mal.
The
all
always
made it
amazing
amazing.
Mal.
Always amazing.